Tonight, a family of 4 missing for 48 hours, found safe and well in the far west. And Corn's first ever Quandong Festival dubbed a giant success, with thousands flocking to the bush food capital of Australia.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening. To some developing news now. The family of 4 missing since Sunday afternoon on their way to the far west of New South Wales have been found safe. It follows a major land search across Tibooburra, Broken Hill, Wilcannia, Packsaddle and surrounds, with assistance from the Missing Persons Registry, as well as Queensland and South Australia Police. The 4 people, 2 women aged 27 and 50 and 2 children aged 2 and 4, were reported missing to the Barrier Police District yesterday when they failed to arrive at Packsaddle after leaving Queensland the previous day. Following inquiries, search and rescue helicopter located a vehicle off the road about 50 kilometres southeast of Tibooburra around 4:15 this afternoon. The helicopter landed and confirmed it was the Hyundai Tucson, with the 4 missing people found safe and well inside the vehicle. The family were then airlifted to Tibooburra for further assessments. Truly the best possible ending. The federal government has announced funding for South Australian airstrips, with many runways across the Spencer Gulf set to receive upgrades. It's part of the round 9 of the Remote Airstrip Upgrade program, seeing many airstrips receive their share of a $15 million nationwide investment.
South Australian airports receiving funding for takeoff. The state has secured 9 grants totalling over $1 million for airstrip upgrades, with many runways residing in the Spencer Gulf region.
Yeah, grain producers say welcome last week's announcements from the federal government to invest just over $1 million in South Australian regional airstrip upgrades and improvements.
Over $60,000 will go towards improving Port Lincoln's second runway. And further up the coast, the District Council of Streaky Bay will also be receiving upgrades of their own.
District Council Streaky Bay, $183,000 for upgrading to lighting. District Council of Lower Eyre Peninsula received $60,000 to upgrade Port Lincoln's second runway.
York Peninsula Council among those who secured funding, set to receive $58,000 to upgrade its facilities. These regional airstrips also playing a pivotal role for grain growers.
It's better used for spraying, distributing fertiliser or surveying, or even a lot of the grain producers would be, recreational flyers.
Farmers welcoming the announcement, saying the upgrades to Port Lincoln Airport will allow them to run a more efficient business. And it's only the beginning, with more developments to come in the near future.
This is a process where it's a grant that has particular rounds. So this is the latest round. Round 9 of this federal government program. So, yeah, councils are fully engaged.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Councils in the far west of New South Wales are keen to sit down with Water Minister Kevin Anderson to talk about the floodplain harvesting legislation. The proposed sit-down is to make sure the minister understands the concerns of the area before making any big decisions.
Combining forces to have a better chance. Broken Hill City Council, along with Wentworth and Central Darling Shire councils, want to meet face-to-face with the minister. Together, they make up a large chunk of the far west.
I think it's important that the minister understands from the community. We represent together about 30,000 people, and we're mostly affected about what happens in Menindee Lake and the Lower Darlings.
Floodplain harvesting has been around for a long time, and in some scenarios it works, but it doesn't work when the Darling River is not connected.
So we need to make sure that floodplain irrigation or harvesting does not happen unless the Darling River is connected from Burke through to Wentworth.
If it is connected and water isn't let out of Menindee Lakes at a fast pace, then there will be enough water to go around.
And having water in a connected Darling River, having water in Menindee Lake and a connected Darling River will mean that South Australian needs are also met.
Mayor Kennedy has no doubt that Minister Anderson will meet with all 3 councils to hear their concerns. He's confident they'll have an impact.
Most politicians whether they have empathy or they just after the vote will meet with people as influential as the councils themselves.
And if he isn't prepared to meet with the councils?
If he's not prepared to speak to the three councils, then whoever he is speaking to is not going to be able to represent the people that live in this area.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Hundreds of people from across the Spencer Gulf and even the country travelled to Quorn on the weekend to attend the first ever Quandong Festival. The event, featuring Indigenous food, land practices and local businesses, has been described by the Flinders Ranges Mayor as an outstanding success.
Following a long and careful planning process, the first ever Quandong Festival took place in Quorn over the weekend. Over 2,000 free tickets were made available for festival goers, and they were lapped up as lines formed to get in.
Far exceeding what we dreamed, to be quite honest. And I must say thank you to Aunt Wandu, who are running this festival for us.
Quandong Fest started with a welcome to country by the traditional owners and Flinders Ranges Mayor Greg Flint, before the events focusing on Indigenous culture, food, land practices and local businesses were flung open.
It's very important to get, especially for us, it gets our name out to a broader variety of customers and people around the state, and it brings people to the town, and people can discover what's up in the Flinders and up in Quorn as well.
Celebrity gardener Costa Diogard has entertained kids with reading and a nature walk.
Today we started with breakfast here in the Bush Food Garden and Community Garden, and everyone came here to do a bit of a working bee with the Landcare group.
Meanwhile, renowned Indigenous writer and farmer Bruce Pascoe read excerpts of his book Dark Emu to both adults and kids.
It's about the oldest philosophical statement on earth. It's about the most sustainable land use on earth. It's about a culture that isn't dead. And all Australia can embrace it.
Stalls offering art, crafts, food and plants as well as live music set the town abuzz despite occasional rain. The Quandong Festival also offers the opportunity for Indigenous Australians and non-Indigenous Australians to come together, to break down racial barriers, to learn about Indigenous culture and agriculture, and attention is already turning to next year's festival. With so much enthusiasm in 2022, the 2023 Quandong Festival is touted as being even bigger and better. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a York Peninsula man accused of murdering his wife to stand trial at the Supreme Court. And Port Pirie bolstered by a boost of men and women in blue after graduating from the police academy. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Gulf News. A man charged with allegedly murdering his wife inside their Port Hughes home last year has been ordered to stand trial after losing his bid to get the case against him thrown out. 59-year-old Anthony Ogar was subsequently charged with the murder of his wife, Cherry Durinte Ogar, in July 2021, leaving her with catastrophic brain and head injuries. 37-year-old Cherry succumbed to the blunt force injuries in hospital 48 hours later. Anthony Ogar applied to have the case against him thrown out in May. However, Magistrate Michelle Sutcliffe disagreed. He'll appear in court again on Friday. Plenty of kids dream of becoming a police officer when they're older, but not everyone follows through in making their dreams a reality. But like most things, joining the police force isn't as glamorous as it is on television, with the academy training experience described as both challenging and rewarding.
They're suited up and ready to kickstart their career. General Duty Officers Ella Menzies and Lachlan Potter were 2 of 20 police officers of Course 52, who recently graduated at the South Australia Police Academy.
Got 2 new recruits at Port Pirie, only deployed here in the last 2 weeks, so really looking forward to working with them over the next 2 years, where they'll develop a significant amount of skills in that time.
Ella and Lachlan have their own reasons for choosing this career path.
I think I chose this career because it's like a challenge every day, not 2 days are the same, and just constant opportunities coming forward for you. It's really good.
I first started out as a protective security officer for SAPOL, and felt like I was dealing with a lot of police every day and wanted to switch over to mainstream policing just for that change of pace in my life.
During their time in Port Pirie, they will be guided by senior members to receive the best training possible and are excited to make the most of their new home and become part of the tight-knit community.
Definitely, I think sport's a big one to get into. When the next season starts, I think both Lockie and I will be joining up for some sporting teams, just get involved.
And it's never too late. If you also want to change up your career, with SAPOL always looking for more people to join their ranks. For more information, visit SAPOL's website. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Broken Hill organisations urge to apply for a slice of $160 million worth of community funding available across the state. And John Pirie Secondary School has been chosen to take part in a special art program, one of 4 schools across the state. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News this Tuesday, the 9th of August. The latest round of the New South Wales Government's Stronger Country Communities Funds has opened. There's a whopping $160 million worth of funding available for community groups to take advantage of.
Helping build better communities for regional New South Wales. Round 5 of the Stronger Country Communities Fund has now opened.
That's $160 million to go into regional communities, to support community events, to support inclusion, and to support making these places better places to live.
Organisations like the PCYC and the local AFL, as well as Broken Hill City Council, have all applied for funding in the past. Whether it be an upgrade of the facilities at Jubilee Oval or improving the skate park for the city's youth.
Around town there's a number of things that have benefited from Stronger Country Communities in the past. The skate park, Jubilee Oval, the library, the swimming pool.
Industries across the board are seeing a shortage of workers, from hospitality to the medical industry. The fund also helps with bringing people out to regional centres, as well as keeping those already based in the bush to stay here.
There's some amazing opportunities coming up in Broken Hill, and like everywhere else in the country, we're desperate to get more staff in our shops, in our hospitals, in our schools. Stronger Country Communities is a way of doing that.
The member of the Legislative Council wants to see regional areas thriving like they once did.
Regional New South Wales is by far the best part in the state to live, work and raise a family. That's why, as a national in government, I continue to fight for these sorts of things and continue to fight for the Stronger Country Communities Fund.
If your organisation has an event or needs funding, visit the New South Wales Government website to apply. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The South Australian Living Artists Festival is celebrated around the state. And this week, students at John Pirie Secondary School will have the opportunity to join in on the action and learn some new skills.
John Pirie Secondary School is one of just 4 education facilities in South Australia, taking part in the Artists in School program. Gus Clutterbuck has been an artist for over 20 years and has plenty of knowledge and experience to share.
I have an exhibition practice, I teach, I work in Indigenous arts and also spent many years working in China as well as an artist.
Using a range of different techniques, Gus is teaching students about patterns and places through the medium of clay, allowing them to explore, build and decorate. Throughout the program, students are also learning about what a career in the visual arts sector could look like.
We saw some of Gus's artwork and I actually found it very interesting to see what he does, and it's pretty cool to see how his life works and how he makes his money and how all his artwork is made.
Students were focused and engaged with their artwork, all choosing different designs that interested them. Art teacher John Fairburn pleased he applied for the program and encourages other schools to do so.
To have John Pirie having a living artist coming out here working with the students, it just blows my mind. It just really, it's fantastic.
For further information about Artists in School program, visit SALA's website. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Soccer, netball and hockey. We recap the weekend's sporting results from across the Spencer Gulf. And we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. It was another big weekend in sport across the region, and as some of the bigger comps start to wrap up, there's one division that's just starting. Daniel Pizarro has this week's Sport Wrap.
Plenty of action for sport over the weekend for across the region, from netball all the way to soccer. Checking round 13 of A-grade netball in Port Augusta first, St Joseph went down to the Magpies by 30 points, while Railways narrowly lost to Vikings 39-43. While it's a win for the number one team, Vikings are certainly worried about nearly losing to third place Railways. In round 14 of Whyalla A-grade, the Ravens were thumped by Kiwi 38-80. Kiwis haven't lost a single game all season, making them the hot favourites for the finals. Rapina came up short against Warriors, and True Blue edged out YCW by 6 points. Down to Port Lincoln, round 13 of A1 saw Wanilla defeat current ladder leaders Waybacks in impressive fashion, 50-37, and Boston are staring at the bottom of the ladder, losing to Imperials by 10 points. Over to Port Pirie, Celtic crushed the Bulldogs by 27 points, while fourth place Solomon Town surprised ladder leaders Central Risdon with a narrow 2-point victory, taking the wind out of their sails. Moving on to hockey now, and it's heading towards the end of the season. In Whyalla A-grade men's, Waratah took the only point during the game against Hummock Hill, but Steel City and Stewart tied 1-1. And in A-grade women's, Waratah easily defeated Hummock Hill 4-1. And a quick look at soccer. Match day 12 of the PLSA saw a huge win to the Knights, crushing the Raiders by 9 points to 0 in embarrassing fashion. The Knights' Charlie Price scoring 4 goals to his name alone. And South Coast overcame Seacole Masters 4-1. That's all for this week's Sports Wrap. Remember, if you would like your club, team or sporting organisation featured on our bulletin, please get in contact with us via our Facebook page or Instagram.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, how was the weather for day one of the EP Field Days?
Cleve really turned it on today, Maddie. Mostly sunny conditions combined with some northerly winds made for a great day out at the agricultural show. And I've been told that Henry Millick will have a full recap of day one in tomorrow night's bulletin. Back to today's weather now. Port Augusta was 21 degrees this afternoon, 20 the top in Whyalla, and Port Pirie reached 19.8 degrees quite late in the day, just before 3 p.m. Looking more broadly at today's weather map now, Port Lincoln and Broken Hill had matching maximums of 16 degrees today. Kadina was the only centre on our map to record 17. Woodner and Adelaide both reached 18, 21 up in Cooper Pedy. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a high pressure system centred in Tasmania extends a ridge of high pressure over the east of South Australia. A cold front will move over the far west tonight, then across remaining parts tomorrow. A low pressure system will move across the southeast of the state on Thursday and Friday. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. North to northeasterly winds between 15 and 30 knots, seas between 2 and 3 metres, and south to southwesterly swell below a metre. A fair amount of rain is expected to fall in Port Lincoln tomorrow, set to reach a top of 17 degrees there. Showers easing and windy in Cleve between 8 and 16 degrees for day 2 of the EP Fields Day. Wet and windy in Woodner as well, 18 degrees. Becoming windy in Whyalla, showers in 18. Same goes for Port Augusta. Soggy in Kadina as well, set to top 16 there. It might pour in Port Pirie tomorrow, 18 degrees, just 12 degrees in Clare. And Broken Hill has the slight chance of a shower, cloudy and 16 degrees after an overnight low of 4 tonight. Taking a look further through the week now, sunny in Cooper Pedy and Port Augusta on Thursday, both heading for 20 degrees. Showers in 19 in Port Pirie, 17 in Woodner and Kadina. Possible showers at 18 over the border in Broken Hill. Showers across most of the region on Friday. Temperature-wise, it won't be warmer than 18 degrees. 15 degrees on the way for Kadina and Port Lincoln. Colder in the capital, just 14. And finally, our first look at Saturday's outlook. More of the same, to be honest. Temperatures in the mid to late teens across the board, with rain everywhere except Cooper Pedy. So, Maddie, day 2 of EP Field Days is not looking as good as today, but a bit of rain will be good as well. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
I'm sure the rain won't keep anyone away. Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Tuesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.